It's race day. Welcome, race fans, to a showcase of driving perfection. My name's Webbo, and let's get down trackside. Hold on tight, we're gonna go for it. Boom, that's how it's done. Whoa, easy. Surely not all the way around the outside. Oh yeah, we're cooking now. Shake and bake, baby, shake and bake. This is a roller coaster of emotions. The drivers are pushing their machines to the limit and beyond. Woo, it doesn't get any better than that. We wait for the lights, the revs build and so does the excitement. And it's drop the clutch and go, go, go! Okay, driver, it's hammer time. This driver is an artist and the racetrack is their canvas. Did you see that? Did you see that? Wow! Let's watch it again. Ooh, hopefully they'll get away with that one. What a great start, and it looks like we can build on this now and really make a good race of it. There's the fastest lap, folks. No mercy on the menu today. Yeah, sideways is rarely ever faster, but you do get style points. And we roll the safety car dice. Leave them alone. They know what they're doing. Oh no, someone's gone bowling into turn one. What a shocker. Moving left, jinking right, keep them guessing. Lawn mowing as a side gig. And we go down the inside, Danny Rick style. We're on the edge of our seats here, folks. The racers are pushing their limits, risking it all for that coveted first place position and the all-important win. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The two cars ahead are fighting with each other. It's slowing them down. And through we go. That driver is a complete and total. A word has not been invented to describe how complete and total they are. But they are one, and a complete and total one at that. And it all comes down to this, the final lap. If you smell what this driver is cooking. This seems like as good a time as any to ask if you've subscribed yet. There's your Grand Slam, pole, fastest lap, and the win! Welcome back, race fans. This is Webbo here, and it's time for the International Racing League. You knew that already because it's Sunday night and it's 8 o'clock UK time. We are going to Saudi Arabia, scene of the last race of the Simracing World Championship round 1 that we enjoyed earlier on in the week. Hopefully you guys are thirsty for a little bit more. It's a fantastic racetrack. It is certain to see thrills and spills, and I hope you're all doing well watching with us tonight. Let me know if you are joining us live and take part in the stream to the greatest extent that you possibly can. Good evening to Beyond the Ball, who already says hello. He knows the drill, and everybody else who cares to tune in. We are ready for round 6 of our just 10 round championship. And last time out, we had not very many drivers, but we did get into some championship connotations. I'm going to be looking at that to start with. We'll go at the top of the order, but we will be heading into one-shot qualifying for the sprint race very, very quickly. So I probably won't get through all of that, all of the details. Unsku leads us at the moment. He's on 92 points. He gained 2 positions thanks to showing up last week and doing the job. 2 wins, 1 third place, a fastest lap. Nets him 92 points overall. Beyond the Ball has 89 points and is still in second position. And he has 4 second places, but the win still eludes him into this second half of the season. Merckx is in third place on 83 points, still defending that title for season 3 right now. A win, a second, 2 thirds, 2 fastest laps, and a pole for our merciless Merckx. Moist, the double world champion from seasons 1 and 2, is in 4th place. Also a no-show today due to work commitments, sadly, on 37 points. And then we have Speedy Spud on 31. Might be eyeing up Moist's 4th place at the moment. 5.5 races to his name, Speedy Spud. Ricky Maru is still in 6th position and doing our standings for us, and we're very grateful to him. And then Jeremy Clarkson is in 7th, joint with Ashtube on 27 points. Milan, strangely, only has 23 points, but has only competed twice with us, has won 3rd place to his name. And AJ is in 10th. We have Sticky in 11th, Floyd in 12th with Ollie, Chuck Norris, Ivan, Luke Brayson, Nike, Atsu and Marco. With Atsu and Marco yet to score, but the drivers taking part tonight should be guaranteed that all-important first points of the season. When we look at the constructors, Williams have 106 points with 4 second places, and Haas have 92 with 2 wins and a third. But fewer drivers representing them at the top echelon. Mercedes are on 83 in 3rd. McLaren have 54 in 4th. And Racing Bulls, the VCarb team, has 48 with Red Bull 47 points in 6th. Aston Martin 38. Ferrari 12. And Sauber and Alpine yet to score as well. As I say, hope you guys are looking forward to a race around Jeddah. We should be able to see some fireworks here tonight, and not just in the sky. We have 3 DRS zones to take you through. Of course, the start-finish straight, the small flat-out section starting around turn 20 and into turn 22, and then again just before turn 25 all the way down to the final corner of the race. Let's ride on board Unsku for now then and see if he can stay on the top of the tree in this qualifying session. Some new painted surfaces there on the exit of turn 2 as we head on then through. Blink and you miss it. These short corners got a little bit lively over the painted curb. It shouldn't be raised, that particular curb, but certainly the car getting a little bit out of shape coming through here. And you can see Ole has already taken the lead in this one-shot quali as they head down towards that turn 13, that high banked corner that indicates sort of 1/3 distance of the race. The first sector ends just before the entry into there. We've lost Ivan, we've lost Luke Racer already on this first lap. Then a quick brake moment down and trying to wrestle the car into the apexes through here. And we'll be looking for that DRS once again now as we head through turn 20, 21. And then it is a very important corner coming up This is where you see Lance Stroll heading towards the barriers, and then we go straight and we go flat out with the DRS once again heading down just a gentle curve all the way until the final DRS detection point. Might come in very important later on. It looks like Bjorn de Boer and Ollie have got ahead though down into the final corner. Unsku still up ahead of Bjorn de Boer and Ollie, as Bjorn de Boer looks like he's going to pinch it by a tiny margin, just 30 thousandths of a second. Bjorn de Boer securing pole for the sprint race, if we can call it pole. I think we're supposed to reserve the term pole for the Grand Prix qualifying. That will be coming up for you after the sprint. Of course, 32 thousandths of a second separating Bjorn de Boer and Unsku, and less than a tenth back to Ollie. In fourth is Speedy Spud, with Sticky in fifth position, 1.3 and 1.6 seconds off the ultimate place, but hopefully taking it fairly steady, because we lost Ivan, Loop Racer and Milan, who weren't taking it quite so steadily, and ended up retiring or disqualified with an invalidation in the session. Good evening to Milan as well, who says hello in the live chat. Good to have you guys with us. Let me know what you made of qualifying, and especially let me know if you're watching live and you're a driver, what your review of the sprint was from your perspective. It's always good to hear from you all. I'll be checking in with the paddock chat as much as possible, but it looks like we for a glorious moment we had double figures of drivers scheduled to attend today, and it looks like Nico Hülkenberg has decided to drop in as well, by the look of the pit garage. Just an idea to float out there. What do you think about having to fill the grid with AI drivers on a slightly slower pace? We might give us something else to talk about at the back of the grid, potentially, but all the same, just float that idea while we have these shortened grids at this early point of 2025. Hopefully, though, we will be getting back into it. And remember to check the playlist for the International Racing League on this channel for a link to the Discord if you do feel like racing with these awesome guys here at the International Racing League. I'm sure they would love to have you, especially if you're a clean racer, and we will do our best to accommodate you, of course. All the drivers are in a Discord chat. I could join that if I wanted to, but you wouldn't hear anything on the stream, unfortunately. So we could start a party potentially if that's what we wanted to do. Well, we've got 5 lights ready for the sprint race here in Jeddah, and we are almost underway for you. And it's lights out and go, go, go. And it's Bjorn de Boer leading away into the first corner. Looks like a nice steady start. The Ferrari alongside the McLaren. Ollie and Speedy Spud going side by side through turn 1 and 2. Looks like some issues back further on for Ivan and for Milan, just taking it steady, hopefully. But Ivan losing 3 seconds back to the 7th place. Milan already from this point. Bjorn de Boer leading them away then. The McLaren and the Ferrari very, very close, nose to tail here. And we'll see if Ollie can find a way through. He'll be very keen to get up to Bjorn de Boer and Unsku and make this into a 3-horse race at this stage. But Bjorn de Boer has a quarter of a second ahead of Unsku. Further half a second back or slightly more are Speedy Spud and Ollie. And we'll have a quick look then at position change from the start. Speedy Spud getting Ollie. Ivan dropping down 2, and let's have a look at tyres. Every driver going for the medium tyre. Nobody confident they can get those soft tyres through the 9 laps of Jeddah. I thought we might see somebody give it a go, you know. And on cold tyres, this corner is very, very difficult. Back with the DRS though zone, which will be enacted on the next lap round. And on board then with the Unsku. We will see if anybody fancies playing games later in the race at the DRS detection on the final corner. We've seen it on track. We've seen it in sim racing countless times, as Speedy Spud is now catching Unsku and Bjorn de Boer. Speedy Spud had a great run out of the final corner here. Anybody fancy a go into the first turn as they run down? Not quite. A little bit further back then for Milan. Loop Racer has lost time and a front wing end plate. Ivan Tonsik has regained a position on Sticky, who seems to have had trouble getting out of Verstappen's corner on the final corner of the racetrack, and is back up and running. Thankfully, Bjorn de Boer leads us by 0.6 of a second. Great to see Ricky
join us as well. How are the new hobbies going, Ricky? Hopefully you've found something to replace your love of sim racing for the time being. Speedy Spud in third place, Ollie catching them as well. Looks like we're going to have a nice front half of the grid here at this stage. So thankfully, 9 laps of the sprint, double that for the Grand Prix. It's a long track. It's a very high speed track, but it does click through the miles or kilometers pretty rapidly. So we are expecting to see the safety car burn Mailander today, but hopefully our drivers can navigate any strategic issues around that. No real strategy at play here today, though, with medium tyres for everybody. Big gap opened up in the midfield. We've got Milan in no man's land, 3.7 seconds in 5th position off the back of Ollie as they head into turn 13, the lead for... this is the final corner, the lead for. And now we should get Unsku with the DRS profit for the first time as he comes out, opens up that slot gap in the rear wing, and we'll see if Beyond the Board can resist Speedy Spud on the way in, and indeed he can. So it's Unsku with that DRS profit. Beyond the Board struggling in the dirty air for the first time here, and just the rear of the car snaking around slightly as they run into lap 3. And we wait to see if anybody is going to struggle with the tyres later on. Probably not. Usually they will do half of a 50% distance quite comfortably, the medium tyres. And heading into 13 then. And as often you see in F1 24 gaming, the drivers locking up, but not really costing themselves a great deal here. You feel like Ollie might be having a look here at Spud. Ollie would love nothing more than to get involved in that fight up ahead, and they will get DRS here. He won't have the profit, as the Speedy Spud has managed to be slightly slower out. I think that's a little trick of ERS that Ollie has managed to do, and if he can stay within a second of the Williams up front, he will have a good opportunity to try and close this gap up and not lose out particularly onto the helicopter cam, which I would love to see more of. Running alongside goes Speedy Spud. Did Ollie actually give him the DRS? I think he might have been tempted to there, as we wait to see then if Beyond the Board can get his revenge on Unsku and retake the lead. He'll go towards the inside line, and this looks to be a fairly straightforward move. Speedy Spud managing to get back to the DRS gap of Unsku, and so didn't give up the overspeed from Ollie running down the start-finish line that time. But it is going to be patience here that will be the virtue most in need around the Jeddah International Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia. Lots of cheering fans to watch our drivers. And it's all action up here at the front of the race. Let's just check out where everybody else is. Sticky at the back. We've got Ivan in 7th place. Teammate Loop Racer in 6th. Milan, as I said before, no man's land at the moment. No Milan's land, I should say, as Loop Racer picks up the first of what I expect to be many time penalties for track limits today. Obviously, it's difficult to cut the corners, but it's quite easy to run over these curbs and just get a little bit too greedy as, again, Ollie gets through past Unsku, but they have now given up the DRS gap to the lead pair. The gap has opened too large for them to get that DRS, and that will make the front two very, very happy indeed. So Unsku now feels like he has that DRS profit. Should just be do-si-do as they go back past each other time after time, and it's all about just being in the right place come the final lap of the sprint. A straightforward manoeuvre from Unsku. Ollie has managed to stay ahead then of Spud this time. They were swapping around, but Ollie now has a big gap to close up to try and catch Beyond the Board, to try and get that DRS. And it becomes a case of, does he try and resist Spud, or do they work together and leapfrog with DRS to try and get back towards Bjorn and Unsku? They can only ever travel at the speed of a car without DRS, the front two. So surely Ollie and Spud will have the chance to try and get up there and they'll do their very best to make this an interesting race for us. Lap 5 of 9, just the sprint race here. We'll go straight into qualifying. Sorry, one-shot qualifying, which is a kind of a sprint quali version for the Grand Prix. Straight after this, then we'll take our customary few minutes break. I think somebody involved in the administration of International Racing League might be a smoker or a vapor and might need a quick breather in between sessions. But back down into third place is Ollie, trying to open that gap up. But really, it's going to be a very difficult job to catch these two at the front of the grid. Unsku leading Bjorn de Boer this time round. But I think that might be soon to change with Bjorn de Boer starting the out of the final corner, and he's 0.3 of a second away. Very easy manoeuvre here to get past the Haas of Unsku, leading our championship Unsku now, and Bjorn de Boer back into the lead of the race. Actually, Milan starting to close on Speedy Spud here, so we might have a three-way battle for the final position on the podium. Let's hope so. And very welcome everyone who has joined us today, and a big thank you to everyone who joins us every week and leaves a like on the video as well. It's always hugely appreciated. Lap 6 of 9 as Bjorn leads by just 0.4 of a second. How are your maths doing at the moment? Let's see who you think will be in that penultimate position on the final lap. Can they overtake? Would they prefer to overtake going into the final corner? Would they rather use some DRS and ERS out of that final corner and try and win it on a drag race to the line? There are two potential strategies on offer here for the win, and I would love to know what Ricky would be doing in this situation. Do you stay behind, keep the ERS topped up to a maximum, and try and put the driver in front offline or under pressure, or do you go for it and try and gap the car in front as much as possible once you've managed to make that overtake? Ollie ahead of Speedy Spud then, as Milan is, well, I would say closing, but it looks like they are finally picking up some speed now, Ollie and Speedy Spud, as Unsku gets by Bjorn de Boer, and they take turns to lead this race one lap after another. It's been fairly straightforward to this point, but this is how it runs, and then you get fireworks on the final lap or two. And Bjorn de Boer then all over the gearbox of Unsku, just making sure that Unsku has to make this absolutely perfect. There was some terrific lag spike there, unfortunately, on Unsku's car, and that could affect the race order in the end. That has extended the gap to an unnaturally large amount here for the drivers. So yeah, that's not great. Sometimes you get those time gaps changing once you've had some spike of lag through in the race. Heading then into the second DRS section here, kicking up a little bit of dust, and on the run into what I would affectionately call Lance Stroll's corner. No one has stuffed up that corner more than Lance Stroll. So heading down all the way, the long run down to the final corner, you get a really good view of just how tight that can get for the drivers. But it is a very wide open racetrack here, and this is Bjorn de Boer once again with that DRS. Unsku going offline to protect the inside line if at all possible, but it's not working out for him. So Bjorn de Boer back into the lead at the start of the penultimate lap as, wow, Speedy Spud gets very sideways, trying to arrest the progress car down into that first corner. And we've still got Milan in 5th place, dropping back with Loop Racer in 6th. Dicky in 7th, who has overcome Ivan at this point. I know Ivan lacking a lot of practice time, but doing his practice sessions live with us here, and getting back into his league racing as much as possible. Object number one, I think, finish the race in one piece and then see what happens with the points. We have 8 starters, we have 8 runners in this sprint race. I wonder if things will be any different in the Grand Prix. Still to come. Ole picks up a 3-second penalty that will potentially gift the podium to Speedy Spud here. And if anything happens between Unsku and Bjorn, then Speedy Spud could go on to take the win, potentially. I've seen things like that happen, as this is a street circuit with concrete barriers left and right throughout the entire distance of the race. This then is Unsku's turn. Will he elect to lead going into the first corner for the final time on the sprint here? The McLaren, a disappearing orange dot in the background, looking back on Unsku's car. So he would rather be the hunter in this final lap as they run through to now take on 3 sectors that will decide the sprint race winner. Who's your money on if you're watching with us in the live chat? I think it'd be tough to bet against Unsku, but Bjorn is desperate for that first win. Although a sprint doesn't really count as a full win, it's more of a half win, isn't it? But we shall see. It will give him confidence going into the final race. There's a decent-sized gap between Bjorn and Unsku here. Now, what does that mean in terms of the available energy, available battery? Just flicking between the two here on screen live. I'm not going to comment on it because I know our drivers are watching, but you can see where each driver stands and how they might be able to best play with this. Heading into, this is the penultimate DRS zone at the moment on over the course of the lap as they run through the stroll corner, and now Unsku is closed significantly. I think they'll be heading side by side down into the final corner. It looks like Bjorn has lifted to give Unsku the lead as they run through the final corner. Is that a calculation on Bjorn's point? Is that in fault? He will open the DRS. He will press the ERS button, but I think he was given up the lead. Unsku wins the sprint from Bjorn de Boer, and Speedy Spud in third as Ole goes full sideways across the line in that 4th position. Milan taking the 5th place checkered flag, too far back to profit from Ole's 3-second penalty. Loop Racer in the Kick Sauber will come through into the final corner very shortly. He is some 24 seconds down, so clearly an issue here for the bottom 3 drivers in our sprint race as he is weaving, and all the drivers will be no excuses now heading into one-shot quali for the Grand Prix to come. Sight of a Red Bull heading out of the final corner of Jeddah, and it's Sticky in 7th place, and Ivan Tonsek still within sight in 8th position. Ricky enjoyed the ending as Unsku took it. I wonder if Bjorn is watching and can confirm whether he lifted to allow to try and get that DRS on the run out of the final corner. But Unsku held on, kept his head into that final corner and went for the lead. And he got it, and he took 8 championship points for it. There is Unsku in the Haas with another race win, followed by Bjorn de Boer and Speedy Spud for the podium. Ole, Milan, Luke Bracer, Sticky and Ivan Tonsek are your finishers, and we'll be heading into one-shot qualifying very, very quickly to go straight into that. Then, as I said before, a customary short break before the Grand Prix starts. I don't know if any drivers listen to their national anthem or the national anthem of the site of the race in the build-up to the Grand Prix. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should put that on. I'll probably get a copyright strike if I choose the wrong orchestra for the anthems. So we wait for one-shot qualifying. I wonder if Bjorn can get 2 from 2 here, or can Unsku, now that he has got in the rhythm. Maybe we will see Milan and an Ole challenge. I think Milan has got some speed in that car, especially over one lap. And it is obviously a lot of pressure to resist. Try and put on another hot lap while you have been running under race fuel. But coming out of a sprint race on the final lap into a one-shot qualifying is about the best type of practice I think you can get for that qualifying session. So as we go straight into that qualifying, here is Unsku then, leading them out of the final corner at least, down into turn 1. And Bjorn just dropping down to 6th for a moment, but back up to 3rd again. course, we won't see any other cars on the grid because we just ride with the top driver. Ole has retired. Didn't make it out of turn 2, I think, unfortunately. So we're down to 7 as we run through. Milan is looking like he's got some hot speed here, and we'll get a better view of different strategies in the main race. They know exactly what the medium tyres film like now over the course of half of the length of the Grand Prix distance that we'll be running. As we run through then, Unsku still holding on to the lead of the race into the second sector. Little bit of a correction heading into the tight right-hander of turn 16. Back towards the DRS then, that's turn 20. 21 to the right, and then we head into 22 and 23 here. The Stroll section, sponsored by Crypto.com at the moment anyway. I don't know if that will live on as we run through another couple of corners, although they are just flat out sections. DRS is open and heading down towards the official turn 27. Late apex, try and get on that power, get the car straightened up and slingshot your way out. Stay close, stay left, all the way to the line, and Unsku takes it again, this time by a more comfortable margin than the pole sitter of the sprint race. Ivan managed to get disqualified or an invalidation over the line. First place then for Unsku. And let's see if he can hold on once again for all the laps of the Grand Prix. Unsku with a 128.214 is 10th and a half faster than Bjorn de Boer in second. Speedy Spud is within a second of the leader, as is Milan, but Sticky just outside of that with Luke Bracer in sixth. Ole managed to retire, and Ivan was disqualified, unfortunately, and will start at the back of our grid. So I will get notification from the drivers for the start time. It's usually around half past the hour, maybe a couple of minutes afterwards if we're a little bit late starting as we are tonight. And I'll let you know as soon as I know. Speedy Spud is typing in the paddock chat, so he will let me know. I'll do my best to edit this out in the days to come this week. Remember that this is round 6 of the championship, and we will be back with live coverage of the Grand Prix in 5 minutes' time. Quick hello to Francisco Sanchez Lorente. Hola. And then it was swiftly retracted. Well, there you go. We'll be back with live coverage very shortly. Don't go anywhere, or if you do, just grab a snack and come back for the Grand Prix. Should be on any minute now, guys. Any minute now. Okay, it's time for the 6th round of the International Racing League's 4th season here in Jeddah. And it's drop the clutch and go. Unsku away nicely already with a small gap ahead of the Williams of Bjorn de Boer. The McLarens go side by side into the first corner. Ivan Tonsik playing it fairly steadily, but Lube Racer, his teammate, getting his elbows out and getting busy early on into 5th position. A strange video effect there on the track on the way out of the first couple of corners, but we'll ignore that for now as we've got... No, it's back again. Very strange video grain effect there. It's not looking good, is it, out there? Unfortunately, just off track in the background. Unsku leads by 0.3 of a second from Bjorn de Boer. Milan is still in the hunt here with Speedy Spud trying to resist the soft tyre shod Loop Racer early on, and it's Loop Racer who has gained at 1 position. Sticky's dropped 2, Speedy Spud down 1, and we go into the tyre strategies here, and you can see that Loop Racer is the only driver to start on the soft tyre, so he will be slightly off on this on the strategy call. We have very odd video grain going on throughout the course of the race so far. I do not know what is happening. I've never seen that before, unfortunately, as the drivers run through sectors 1 and 2. Ivan Tonsik at the back of the grid at the moment, 1.3 seconds, but taking it pretty steadily at this early stage. Big lock-up from Unsku into the final corner as he trail brakes the car and tries to turn and thinks about getting the power on as well, and they will pick up the DRS, will be allowed from now on, as then you've got a Loop Racer already just having a look, making a shape into turn 1. He really needs to start getting that early ground consolidated and move up as far as possible here. This strategy only really works if you're going to go really aggressive and get those positions early on, because of course you'll be the first one to pit, and the rest of the drivers will have to you'll then have to do the work to catch them again. Although we saw in previous sim races at this very location that an early pit stop can really help if you can get that clear air, and the drivers at the front are battling. Unsku in first, Bjorn de Boer in second, with Milan and Speedy Spud taking 3rd and 4th in that order for McLaren. Loop Racer in 5th, Ole in 6th place, as a good train of cars here. Ole driving the Ferrari today. And that is a big problem then. Ivan Tonsik has collided with the barriers and possibly with Sticky as well. 10-second penalty has been given to Sticky for that collision. And Ivan Tonsik was, last time we saw him, taking it pretty steadily and not getting too crazy out there. He's lost most of his front wing. Big change of strategy. There is some debris on the circuit, which hopefully the marshals can retrieve for us and not force a safety car. But here we go then. First bout of DRS for the Williams of Bjorn de Boer here. Unsku not taking the inside line. Well, they are going to go down onto the brakes here into turn 1, and Bjorn de Boer confident enough to take the position on the brakes, which is great to see. That's exactly what we want. We don't want all these boring DRS passes too much, as then you've got Loop Racer trying to get ahead, and has managed to get ahead and stay ahead of Ole at this stage, and then will be motoring along on this section of the track to try his best to catch Speedy Spud and get some of that sweet DRS as soon as he can. And he's already got to within a second here on the way towards the second DRS zone. That's Ollie having a look into the right-hander of turn... It's the left-hander, excuse me, turn 13, and getting the low side of the banking. And that's a beautiful manoeuvre then from Ollie. No DRS assistance on that one. And you've got to love a little bit of an unexpected manoeuvre, especially when it works out cleanly. anyway. Bjorn trying to gap Unscoot. We will see different strategies at play here. We may see the hard tyre. We may see the drivers switch to the medium. It may be that they can get away with it. Who started on the softs, or they may switch to the softs, I should say, from the medium starters. The McLarens are side by side, playing fairly nicely together at the moment, and Speedy Spud up and into third position with the DRS, and then we'll see presumably another change for the lead once again, right on board with Unscoot in the Haas. He's a little bit further back here, and Bjorn might fancy staying ahead a little bit. New fastest lap from Bjorn de Boer, and Unscoot not going for the manoeuvre into the corner. But look who is. It's Loop Racer diving down the inside. A little bit of wheel banging. Plenty of room left, though. As soon as that contact was made, Loop Racer made sure that there was the space to be left for Ole to have a fair fight. And you love to see some good, clean racing between the drivers. Although, unfortunately for them, that means they have slipped out a long way from the DRS. We've got 6 drivers in pairs of DRS gaps at the moment. Unscoot just behind Bjorn, Milan just behind Spud, and Loop Racer just behind Ole. As Ivan Tonsik has switched onto a second set of medium tyres and repaired the damage on his kick Sauber. Sticky, wearing a 10-second penalty, isn't going to help Ivan, especially given now that Ivan has switched onto a second set of the medium tyres. He will still need to make a pit stop before the end of the race. Didn't fancy a set of hard tyres. It might have been a good option as we go into the 1980s here in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and we get coverage to that level. I wonder if it's the game rendering the kind of twinkling on the seafront and the water surface, but it's just misplaced on the buildings. Let me know if you've seen this happen before. It doesn't appear to be every trackside camera that we come to, as Unscoot is a quarter of a second away. There you can see just across the bridge texture of the game. Anyway, down for a new overtake goes Unscoot into the inside lane and completes the manoeuvre. And they swap around once again. Unscoot winning the sprint. Unscoot winning the races so far, and the battles between himself and Bjorn de Boer on track this season. But Bjorn desperate for a role reversal here, and to try his best to move forward if at all possible. But so far, good racing. That was Spud very sideways, though, giving up a decent amount of time and the position to Milan as he lost traction running through turns 4, 5 and 6. And unfortunately, well, it might have actually been 7 and 8. I think it was 7 and 8 that he had the problem. And fully sideways was Spud, and maybe slipping into the clutches of Ole, who almost clatters the Rolex branding on the concrete wall there. Well, there you go. An upgrade of camera required for the helicopter, I think. Very, very strange situation here. Still, we have continued racing. Ivan has unfortunately retired, and that causes us a safety car. He has retired running through turn 3 and 4, and we go into a full safety car situation now. Unscoot is in two minds. What does he do? Give up the lead of the race? Well, Bjorn de Boer has basically decided to do the opposite, and so has Spud. No, so has Milan. I stand corrected. It was Spud who has continued on past the drivers who have pitted. So we'll see what the drivers decide to do here. Loop Racer, pretty no-brainer. Getting to the pits, Loop Racer, off your soft tyres. Sticky, likewise, is coming into the pits as well. So it's all change except for Bjorn de Boer and Speedy Spud, who are going to stay out on the medium tyres. This could open up the soft tyre window for the medium runners here, and that will be what they're thinking. That a cool-down effect on the tyres at a really good time of lap 5 could elongate the lifespan of the tyres. Of course, we'll have 2 laps of running under the safety car with little to no tyre degradation. And then they'll be hoping that they can switch to the softs, and they'll give up track position to the hard runners, but they will have an aggressive race car for the final portion of the race. Maybe the last 7 laps or so could be a potential run on the soft tyres. Anyway, whatever has happened, Bjorn and Speedy Spud have decided that it's too early to make the switch to hards, and that they are hoping for a further little bit of help. Maybe another safety car later to come. But certainly some soft tyres are worth considering as we run into the latter part of the race. It's lap 6 of 25 though. Bjorn is the leader ahead of Speedy Spud. He'll be pleased that at least one driver decided not to pit with him and will be a blocker. But I fully expect Unscoot. He's pretty quick and he's pretty good at keeping the hard tyres warm under the safety car, especially on the green flag lap. They're usually performing pretty well on the Haas. So we'll see if he manages to make that work. Heading into turn 13, and we'll see if Bernd Mailander will go for another lap after this one, as catching at a fair rate of knots is Loop Racer. So the bottom 5 drivers of our 7 that remain on the hard tyres now, and we have the top 2, Bjorn and Speedy Spud. No pit stops for them on the medium tyre. Pit board's out, indicating to the drivers that they are on to lap 7, as if they didn't know. And just trying to run through as a sort of gold glitter effect on the bridge there this time. This is the strangest racetrack texture that I've witnessed so far. Lap 7 under the safety car. The second lap under the safety car. Hopefully the final lap under the safety car, as Atsu says, go, go. I don't know if you can see this, Atsu. But you see the strange texture, this video grain texture that's across various parts of the game coverage today. Hopefully that's making it through to YouTube, but it may not be. I suppose it might just be my end here. I'll try and have a look at the stream as soon as my second device kicks in. It's currently on pause at the moment. So Bjorn de Boer, second after 9 laps in the sprint to Unscoot. Leads us at the moment. But it looked like normal service resumed from the sprint into the Grand Prix of just taking turns to lead as they run through using the DRS, making the overtakes into turn 1. Unfortunately, you get a lot of practice making those overtakes into turn 1, but not a lot of practice of when it counts, which is down into the final corner, and especially out of the final corner and sprinting to the line. So drivers have to kind of flip their plan a little bit. Thankfully, Bernd Mailander has had enough of entertaining us, and now the drivers will just work on their tyres. They do get a good readout for the temperatures, so they can do this sort of weaving. They can do mini burnouts just to try and keep the cars running. And we will watch from the middle here as GTK Studio is going to get an obvious point for that one. Unfortunately, yes, indeed, we are running a little bit low, but we expect people like yourself to show up and race, and Atsu as well, as they head then into the final corner, and we're going to go green flag racing for the final portion of the race. This is Unscoot then in third position. Bjorn de Boer leads them away and lights the touch paper a little bit earlier than perhaps the drivers were expecting. Looks like the closest challenge is going to be between Ole for fourth position, as there goes Milan making that overtake already. Milan making the overtake on Ole into fourth position. Loop Racer studying the back of the Ferrari at this stage in sixth place. Sticky back down in seventh at the moment, and drivers locking up on those slightly cold tyres, but no dramatic moves from the drivers on the way into the first few corners of the restart, playing it quite chill here. GTK Studios, he's been on 60+ hour weeks. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. What are you, a doctor or something? That's tantamount to abuse, what you're going through. So hopefully you can get some downtime and get back racing with us as soon as possible. But I understand that it's a lot to try and do on top of a very busy work week. Anyway, it's Bjorn de Boer leading us by 0.4 of a second from Speedy Spud. I'm waiting to hear Atsu's excuse, because he said he was hoping to race with us last weekend. He's not here. You work in sewage works. That's even worse, 60 hours in sewage. Oh dear. Absolutely shocking. Must be a bad time of year for floods and overspills and things like that. down into the final corner as Ole is having a look at Milan. They are good friends and race teammates in the Diecta clan, but on track they pull no punches at all. DRS has been enabled, not down this straight though, as we wait for the next DRS detection zone, heading out of turn 17 into the very slight kink of the official turn 18. For the first time they'll be able to properly use that once again. So Beyond the Ball leads Speedy Spud. Unsku has dropped back a little bit here, but certainly well within range. He doesn't want to let Beyond the Ball get a second away from Speedy Spud, because that's going to make life a little bit harder. But Spud's running his own race here. He's not out to just allow Beyond the Ball to win, although obviously as a session admin and host, he might be interested in a slightly closer battle for the championship by helping someone other than Unsku to continue to win early on. Sticky's down in 7th at the moment, but Bjorn is starting to pull that gap that he needs as Unsku uses that as a real motivator now to get on through and past Speedy Spud. He desperately wants to get the DRS, otherwise he's going to give this place straight back up again to Speedy Spud. Hard tyres, back up to temperature. Remember, Spud and Bjorn yet to pit, and we'll be hoping to try and take these mediums all the way to a soft tyre window with 8 or 7 laps remaining of the race. But his teammate has something else to say about it, as four cars go very, very close together in the final corner. Speedy Spud will be the first with the DRS profit of this group. But has he got the traction out of the final corner? He's shaping for a manoeuvre as they negotiate some racing room. Speedy Spud a lot more cautious on the brakes. Didn't fancy retaking Unsku or diving down on the way into the first corner on Unsku. As Milan and Ollie, whoa, that was super close as Ollie just sneaks the tail ahead and doesn't manage to run over the front wing end plate of the Ferrari. This is on board. We ride in 5th place with Ollie. We've got Loop Racer not far behind, certainly within striking distance. Loop Racer running the first tyre stint on the soft tyres. Most everybody else starting on the medium tyres. And we'll see if Spud and Beyond the Ball can keep these tyres alive and extend the tyre life out past the halfway point into the final 7 laps and put the soft tyres on if at all possible. Unsku yet to catch within a second of Beyond the Ball, but it doesn't seem too worried about it. I think he's got the pace in hand here. Try and get on terms. Bjorn needs to build the gap as much as possible because his pit stop is going to drop him very far back, if not at this stage all the way back to the back of the order, as the field spread is only 4.5 seconds after that safety car gap. So certainly that pit stop will put him in 6th position. Speedy Spud doing the same thing. Here comes Milan then with the DRS on Spud, and should be a fairly straightforward one. Spud will hope not to give up the place to Ollie, but it looks like Ollie's going to get him as well. Is he? Oh, that is super, super close. Ollie should have the better traction out of turn 3, but Spud will try and hang with him, but it's the traction with the corner, and it's Spud into the barrier. Spud losing part of the front wing, unfortunately for him, and I think just the dirty air effect. The worn tyres trying to stay with a hard tyre run-up, and I think it might be time to pit for him, because trying to run around this racetrack with not a complete front wing is going to be very difficult indeed. GTK need to be invited back into the Discord server. If you go into one of the previous races on this playlist of the International Racing, I have put a link direct from the video as a link into the server. But you can also DM me. I know we're friends on Discord, so you can always grab that off me after the session. No problem at all. Unsku has closed very close, within 0.4 of a second here of Bjorn de Boer. So a nice lap from him, hot lap from him, while we watched Spud hit the barriers. Unsku has caught nicely indeed. Milan and Ollie are also catching the front two, and it looks to set up an intriguing final portion of the race. It's lap 11 of just 25. Unscoot going round the inside. The Williams of Bjorn de Boer fancies another little run with some slipstream there, but didn't really get much out of it. So Unscoot back into the lead of the race, approaching the half distance as they head in towards sector 2 here. And it is Unscoot ahead by a quarter of a second. He's on hard tyres. There won't be much to separate 6-lap-old hard tyres from 11-lap-old mediums in terms of outright pace, but the mediums need to be managed very, very carefully here. I think if Bjorn can manage to get through to lap 18, I think he'll be safe to use the soft tyres. He doesn't really want to have to switch to hard tyres here. I mean, he could rag them mercilessly, but I don't think he'd have the performance delta over the rest of the field that he needs to make the overtakes to get back up to the top. However, of course, we've just seen Spud hit the barrier, so we could end up with another safety car. The drivers on hards will almost certainly switch to mediums in that instance. Bjorn would have to be on hards. So at the moment, it looks like the race getting away from Bjorn here. So we shall see as Bjorn looks down the inside, get as close as humanly possible to ensure he retakes the lead of this race on the way out of the final corner here under the STC barrier. Should be fairly easy here for the Williams, as I think Unscoot actually lifted there, and he needs to be careful lifting too early because Milan almost ran into the back of him. So now your order is Bjorn, Unscoot and Milan, with Ole in that 4th position, looking to try and mop up any accidents or incidents and try and gain a podium out of tonight. Bjorn leads us 3.5 tenths of a second ahead of Unscoot, who beat him in the sprint race tonight and much of the season so far. And he'll be getting really cross that I keep saying that. So I will try not to for his sake. I'll just check to see. Oh, Studio has found his way back into the server, so that's great. I'll just check whether Ivan is going to give us a debrief or not from his race. I'd love to hear what happened to Ivan, if he's willing to share it, or if he's too angry, then no problem at all. Heading into the Stroll corner now. Oh, Unscoot, that was a little bit out of shape. Might have picked up a penalty there. Well, Milan and Ole have both picked up penalties. Unscoot may have picked up a warning running through Stroll's corner as they run down into the final turn now. And Unscoot staying ahead. The Diectors run side by side, almost running one into the barrier there. Unscoot managed to recover nicely enough to try and take the lead once again. I wonder if Milan will have a look at Bjorn. Bjorn, holding that inside line, is quite content to fight here, but Unscoot will go side by side. Respectful racing room left by both of them, as Bjorn's grip should presumably leave him lacking slightly here as Unscoot goes over the white lines once again, and he may have just had 2 strikes within the course of a single circulating lap. Bjorn is pushed wide, but that corner's a real pinch as he rejoins the race circuit right in front. We have got some racing on our hands here. We may only have 7 drivers in the race, but they are giving it everything possible. There's a chance that Pirelli paint was rubbed there into turn 13 as well. Unscoot leads them by less than 2 tenths of a second, and this is monstrous between these two. We have seen Saudi races go sour in the past, and it looks like this one might be about to kick off here between these 4. It only takes the most minor of miscalculations, the most innocuous of problem using the dirty air, having the air taken off the front wing by just a slightly offline, off-practice corner. Unscoot hugging the inside line here. Doesn't want to give up an opportunity, but then he does to try and make enough of a shape into the final corner. They will now exit the final corner side by side once again. Bjorn de Boer has the McLaren directly behind him, has the Haas in front, and I think they will queue up to pass Unscoot here. I think they might all try and get Unsku as Ollie goes diving down the inside. Unsku resists, holds on, tries to leave a gap. Beyond tries to run away from this battle as much as possible. What a sequence from these guys. And they are giving us plenty of entertainment for sure. Beyond leads now on lap 15 of 25, bit by bit. Lap by lap, that soft tyre window is opening for Beyond and he should be able to resume at the back of, well, certainly behind Loop Racer, I think, as early as possible to give him the best chance he can, and just hope that the Diecta twins here will keep Unsku occupied and slow while he has clear air and a run at Loop Racer at least once he has managed to make that pit stop. Although, of course, we could still end up with a safety car that affects our race. I haven't seen that video graining for a while. I wonder if it's resolved itself. But as I say, a very, very strange graphic effect that has just started to plague us. We had black smoke at the sort of around November time, suddenly in the game after an update, and now we've got video grain now into the end of January as this airs live. Beyond leads us quarter of a second, and he dives into the pits with 10 to go. So he will exit out of this one, and he will hope then that he can open that opportunity to use the soft tyres. That is a stretch. That's more than the mediums managed in the sprint. So he is rolling the dice here. He's got a really difficult job on his hands as Ollie mounts and climbs that curb, risks unsettling the rear of his Ferrari. We see just how close these walls are. Unsku with a miscalculation that time. Little wiggle. I wonder if the hard tyres are starting to... They should be bedding into absolutely perfect territory right now, but I'm just going to check out then. Beyond is your gap. I'm going to stick that on gap to leader. 16.8 seconds to the leader for Beyond with 10 laps to go. And we don't need to see the gaps between these three. It is very obvious that they're all within that DRS 1 second window as they run and continue down in towards the final portion of the 16th lap. And you can see just that rear end getting loose for Unsku once again. And it's not all going quite as straightforwardly as perhaps he'd have hoped. Beyond will be desperately hoping that these hard tyres are going to run too long into this race and be a problem for the drivers. Will we get a third different leader of this race now that Ollie has the chance with the DRS? Looks like Unsku away from the final corner nicely, but this overspeed is going to be absolutely irresistible from the Ferrari on the Haas. That is Ferrari engineering against Dallara engineering and design, as the identical engines in the cars, and that is sticky with the 3 second penalty. Now Unsku has no penalty, but he is going to be being slowed here, and the gap to beyond down to 16.1 seconds from 16.8 earlier on, and that is the all-important gap to keep monitoring. Will Unsku be slowed by two cars here, the Diectas, who both have penalties? Will Milan be tempted to try and force an error on Unsku's part? Is it possible that Unsku could pick up a third and final strike on track limits as well and pick up 3 second time penalty? I wonder, because Beyond currently with a clean sheet here, away from penalties anyway, and that would obviously make his job 3 seconds easier than it currently appears. 15.3 seconds as he will be running qualifying spec laps right now to try his level best to close this gap, but it looks almost impossible. Unsku with the DRS still, but it looks like these hard tyres are not behaving particularly well. There's not a lot of cars on track to help grip up this race surface. It is a cool night version. The track generally tends to get cooler through the race rather than hotter, thanks to the fact that they're running at night. But Unsku has a close enough time gap to overcome and retake the lead of the race and dictate the pace of this next lap. 14.4 seconds is the gap back to fifth place Bjorn de Boer, who sets a new fastest lap, a 1 minute 30.349. His tyres are at their absolute best in comparison to the hard tyres, but of course he needs to keep something back, because he's stretching that tyre life out to 9, possibly 10 racing speed laps as the fuel gets burnt off as well. Into turn 13 once again. It's lap 18 of the 25 that we have here in Jeddah for the Grand Prix, and Ole is still in second position and very much within range here. Milan showing the first sign of slipping away, and it looks like Loop Racer has had an accident. Unfortunately, that gives a position up to Bjorn de Boer. Straightforward for him, and that is coming out of turn 13. Looks like he lost the rear of the car on traction, and unfortunately he's damaged the car, left a little bit of debris. The safety car has not been called, but the drivers would have been looking up at the corner of their screen and seeing the yellow colour and getting concerned for another safety car. That would be a golden opportunity for Bjorn de Boer, you have to say, on the new soft tyres. I guess anybody could come in and stop the softs for the final few laps of this race. Here comes Ollie then to retake the lead down into the inside lane into the first corner. Actually looks like Milan closing in nicely, and this is all feeding in to Bjorn de Boer's plan here to try and catch these guys, although he looked to have a slightly slow lap that previous lap. I think navigating Loop Racer, who was doing a 12-point turn in the middle of the track, I think might have caused Bjorn to lose some running, and Loop Racer has retired. Loop Racer has retired from the race. I can't see where he is. Full-on yellow flag at the moment. Spud comes into the pits just in case I think it's called for a safety car. That is unscheduled, that as Loop Racer has left the session. I'm hoping to try and see what happens to Loop Racer. Looks like Sticky might get there first, but it's a full-on yellow flag. Waved double yellows, but it's just being cleared. I think with the broken front wing, we might have had a problem for Loop Racer. The race goes back to green flag racing though with 6 laps to go, and Bjorn kept it pinned, his gap down to 13.1 seconds, but the time is ticking away. There needs to be some pretty major problem with these 3 cars, I think, for Bjorn to catch them now. Unsku in second position, net lead though, because he doesn't have a penalty, whereas the cars in front and behind of him do. So he should get the lead of the race once again, and he will cruise on past. I think possibly we may see Milan have a go on Ollie as well, as they put so much trust in each other to stop the cars into the first corner down there. Pinpoint accuracy from them, and it is now just 6 clean laps to go for the leaders, and 6 laps for Bjorn to close in a 12.4 second gap. It looks insurmountable. It looks like he may end up 4th. He may get 2nd if he can get 9 of those 12 seconds, but that is still a big ask, and he needs to not put a single foot wrong for the remainder of this race in order to make that happen. Really grateful to everybody who's tuned in today, and for those of you who have participated in the live chat, said and left a like, leave a comment, leave your timestamp with your favourite moment of the race in the comments afterwards as well. If you're watching after the race, I know lots of our drivers tune in to rewatch the race after the run on Sunday. But Ole is in that second place now, and we'll be having a look at an opportunity to repass Unsku to start lap 21 in the lead of the race. Once again, use the DRS to close in. That's the final corner. Once again, the gap for Bjorn down to just 12.1. It is not shrinking fast enough, and we'll see if Ole can get through past Unsku, and he cannot on this occasion. Unsku holding the line, keeping the pace, and making sure that he maintains his position. In fact, if anything, Milan closed in slightly on that lap, and the gap is now opening for Bjorn out to 12.2 seconds. There's not much in it, I have to say. Could just be the different portions of track that they're on, but he needs to close in at a much faster rate of knots than he's managing to perform at the moment on those soft tyres, but he's trying to get more life out of them than we were expecting the soft tyres to have. But he had to take a chance after declining the opportunity to pit under the first safety car. hopefully only safety car at this point, as Speedy Spud gets a new fastest lap on a new set of soft tyres, and we'll be closing in on Sticky at the back of this one. Here they are. This is Speedy Spud close to Sticky, but the battle for the lead, at least on the road, continues, as will it be Milan's chance to go through? So Loop Racer having time called on him, unfortunately. I'm sorry to hear that. We do race fairly late in the evening. It's not far away from my bedtime either, Loop Racer, so don't feel too bad about it. But yeah, hopefully we can get you back once again. Here we go. Running past the Haas of Unsku, goes Ollie back into the lead of the race at the start of lap 22. I think next time, Loop Racer, we need to just lay low and try and run the race. It's only a few more minutes, surely. If they think you're on for a podium, they'll let you go. Surely they will. You'll sleep better knowing you've completed the race anyway. These are things you need to tell people that control your bedtime. And we'll see if that works. I doubt it. Unsku, second position, 0.4 of a second, but with the car front and behind of him, both with penalties, he is sitting pretty at the moment. 10 seconds each for Ollie and Milan. They'll look to try and get those rescinded, I imagine. They are probably to do with significant damage, significant contact, or potentially that they are, in fact, speeding in the pit lane. I'm just going to have a quick check on that one. Let's just see. Incidents. 10-second time penalty. What have we got for Bjorn? For Ollie. It's just collisions with each other. So they might try and vote that that neither of them cared about the collision and get these penalties removed. So we shall see whether those penalties are actually ones to be concerned about. If they are both paid, then potentially Bjorn has a chance at a second position here today, as Unsku takes the lead once again at the start of lap 23. Ollie and Milan wearing questionable 10-second penalties for collisions with each other. Could have been under the safety car, I suppose, but they didn't have to change tyres, change or repair the cars as far as I could see. So, well, I mean, I have to question those penalties strongly. I'm going to call this race as if those penalties didn't exist, because that is a strange one for me. Unsku leads us by 1/4 of a second. Bjorn de Boer is still 12 seconds away. I wonder what is holding up Bjorn de Boer's progress at this stage. He needs to close in if those 10-second penalties remain. He needs to get as close as possible, but he's also got to get those soft tyres home, and that is the real head scratcher here for Bjorn de Boer. Looks like it's going to be a 4th place for Bjorn. And that won't be good enough for his aspirations. I know he's dead keen to get the win again. Couldn't do it at home in Zandvoort, and it looks like it's going to escape him here tonight in Jeddah. But we have 4 opportunities remaining to the drivers. This is round 6. There are 10 rounds in total. I hope I've done my maths right there as we head into the final corner once again. And Ollie is in that second position and is close enough to challenge. 0.2 of a second. Here we go once again for Ollie. Around we go. Ricky Maru saying Unsku takes it all. Well, he might not have his own way here, as it looked like for a moment Milan was going to get him. Unsku takes everything. Well, it looks like the fastest lap point might go the way of Spud, who has put soft tyres on potentially. But it's good to see Ricky watching us, as well as Atsu. And I know Loop Racer is trying to tune in and grab some highlights at least for his post-race videos as well. But 24 of 25, we're closing in on the finale of this round 6 of the championship. Last time out, Unsku took the lead on the final lap and held it. Will we see that happen? As it looks like Milan is starting to turn the wick up here and pressurise Unsku. That could gift the win to Ollie, at least on the road. But we shall see what the penalties situation is post-race, as Ollie leads Unsku from Milan here as they close out. Unsku struggling in that sector of the race, not for the first time today. Unsku struggling in the middle part of the track, but they close in using the DRS on the way into the final corner. And there goes a dive from Milan onto Unsku. They will go side by side. They'll both get DRS, either one from the other or from the Ferrari in front as we go to start the final lap of the race. Who is your money on? Can Unsku continue to triumph here on the road? And that is a great overtake then, well timed from Milan as he sweeps across into turn 2 and holds on just about, avoids the barrier on the way through turn 3. And that could box Unsku out of a potential win on the road. Unsku might just be playing the penalty gamble and trying to win this race, bearing in mind that there are penalties on the two cars, but it's for fairly odd collision between the two of them. What I might do is join the Discord as we close out the race and see what they think of this penalty. What's the likelihood that this will get reversed? Having said that, though, we are heading into sector 2 now of the final lap of the race, and Ollie leads Milan, leads Unsku. The gap to Bjorn has opened up alarmingly to 14.6 seconds. The soft tyres are dead, so there's nothing he can do to try and close this in. But can Ollie hold on here? It is a really difficult job. He takes a much narrower line through turn 22 and 23. As they run down in the final run here, Unsku gets a little bit out of shape, and in fact that's lag once again. Will they risk 3 wide into the final corner? Unsku has teleported through. We could end up with 3 drivers heading across the line, all one aligned with each other. They're using the DRS. The DRS. Have you ever seen a finish like that? As Unsku officially scores it, but Ollie finished the tiniest distance ahead on the road, ahead of Milan, and in fact Unsku finished between the two of them. What an amazing finish between those guys, and we'll see what the stewards say afterwards, and I will try and tune in to the driver chat and see if they are around. I'm going to do it via my phone and see if they can tell me what's going to happen with that situation. But that was the finish. Bjorn de Boer is going to position in P4 and finish the race. Then we have Speedy Spud coming through to finish in 5th. Something happened to Sticky before the end of the race. Unfortunately, there is Speedy Spud coming home in that 5th position. Let's see if I can listen in to the drivers here for a second. What a finish, guys. That was tremendous. What chance do you think, Ollie and Milan, of getting those penalties removed? What a finish. 3 cars on the line together. That was amazing stuff. Well done. I think you should appeal. I think we should try and get that finish justified out there. Great job, guys. Nice one. So Unsku on the podium there. I don't know if you picked up much through my microphone on my phone joining them, but yeah, what a finish between the 3 great rivals to finish this one out. I do think that potentially, I think it was Milan, could have got the win overall there, finishing sub 10 seconds away from Unsku. And I think it was Ollie finished just ahead. But we'll try and clip that one for you. I will try and find it on my stream and just confirm how that finished, because for some reason I don't get the results screen, bizarrely enough. Yeah, over the line, it looked like the penalties were awarded and Ollie won by 1.5 tenths of a second from Unsku. And Milan finished 4 thousandths away from Unsku, similar to the F1 Simracing World Championship finish, but with 3 cars instead and 1 going sideways across the line. Tremendous stuff from the guys. Congratulations to whoever ends up being the eventual winner of the race, probably Unsku, but we shall see. Well done for putting on such a great show to the end. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been Webbo. This is the International Racing League. Find a way to join if you can and plump these numbers up for the end of the season. But for now, we will catch you on the next race day.